the time that I spent building these skills and actually doing the work and learning, I have learned so much more than a $100,000, $200,000 education would ever cost me.
Family's super poor, wasn't going to college, couldn't afford it, didn't want to go in debt right away, so I just went right into the Navy, and I was making what, $700-800 a month.
Start disassociating yourself with those materialistic things that you want and focus more on just getting really good at what you do. I'm telling you right now, you want to make a ton of money, become a fucking beast at what you do, man.
If I had never joined our community of affiliate marketers who are all at least pursuing the same goals, the same missions, the same drive, I probably would have stayed stuck in that kind of college 9-to-5, just go down the traditional route mentality.
All right, guys, so we're walking and we decided to, as we take this walk, talk about some topics that mean near and dear to us. And the topic that came at hand is kids around our age. If you didn't know, we're all within 25 and 20 years old. And, we're doing pretty solid for ourselves, but we want to discuss the current environment that we live in and how people of our age, there's so many different paths to go on, but what path is the right one? So I want to ask you guys, how did you know, start with Trev, how did you know that not going to college and pursuing a business that you weren't really that successful at the time was the right idea for you?
I would say that when I first was a senior in high school, I basically applied to join all these colleges and stuff like that and had to pick my majors and get everything started. I didn't really even want to do it in the first place. It was kind of just like the path that everyone else did and everyone did around me. So I was already skeptical from the start. Then going to freshman year of college, for me, it was 2020. It was the COVID year, the big COVID year. So effectively all of my classes were online, all these Zoom meetings and all that stuff. It allowed me to have a lot more free time to think about my decision a lot more, and also have the free time to be able to start something else that at the time was affiliate marketing, as Alex knows, in my free time that I got every day. And that shift ended up making me realize that the system of college it's great for some people. It's actually great for most people, I would argue, but you shouldn't just do it just because everyone else is doing it. You should do it if you're, going to be a doctor, engineer, lawyer, whatever it is. But for me, I had no clue what I wanted to do. So starting a business allows me to find that kind of purpose, right?
That's awesome.
I love that.
How about you, Tyler?
So I started my first business at 17, and I quit I had 2 jobs senior year, and I lied to them because I was able to negate an extra class, and I lied to them and said I had to pay for college, so I had to save up, so I had to work 2 jobs, and they let me do it. So I had school 8 to 12, and then I did 2 jobs after that, and went to the gym and that sort of thing. And I knew that I wasn't going to go to college or pay for college because I thought that it was ridiculous. For most people, once again, if you're going to be a lawyer, or going to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever, you definitely want to go to college. But for most people, when they go and get a communications degree, I think it's a scam. I think it's ridiculous. You're paying so much money for this. And so I think for most people, it just doesn't make sense. And I think there's so many good opportunities out there, whether that's, learning a hard skill like marketing, sales. What other's a good skill that you could actually learn?
Copywriting,
marketing and sales
messaging.
are the top 2, kind of.
Yeah.
But learning these skills and then applying them for yourself, and just learning one skill at a time, learning how to do something with that, and then learn a new skill. So I learned sales at a job I was at before I quit when I was end of 17 or beginning of 18, and I quit that, and then I went full-time working with myself, or working for myself. Started my first business at 17. And so with that though, I learned sales at the job I was at previously, and I built my first business off of that job. And so what I learned from that though was I had to learn one skill and then utilize it and then make money with it, and then you can learn another skill. But it's the time that I spent building these skills and actually doing the work and learning, I have learned so much more than a $100,000, $200,000 education would ever cost me, and especially, or would ever grant me learning all that. And if I were to go to college and learn all this stuff, I would have wasted all this time. And also, it's all theoretical from professors teaching you that have never started a business. That's my biggest problem, is like, because if I were to go to school, it would be for business. But the people teaching you are professors who have never run a business. So it doesn't make sense. And so it's all theoretical. So I would say for you guys, start with one skill, get out there, learn it, and then apply it directly after learning it, and then start making money off of it. And then you go from there and you continue building from there. But experience is so much more valuable. That's why when they look at your resume, they look for experience. So why are you learning stuff theoretically? Go out and actually get that experience, because it's so much more valuable. So that's what I would say with
Well said.
all that long breath up to the main point there. But I had to give some explanation as to why.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So John, back to you, man. Were you the only one out of all of us that went to the military?
Yeah, dude. So for me, and I'll look at both cameras. For me, right out of high school, I went to the military. Had no idea what I wanted to do. More specifically, I say like I had no idea what I could do. Family super poor. Wasn't going to college, couldn't afford it. Didn't want to go in debt right away. So I just went right into the Navy, and I was honestly on the path to become a doctor, kind of like Trevor said. The best thing to do is go to college if you can do that. Fortunately, I realized I hated school. I just couldn't stand doing things that made no sense. Some of the things I was learning, because I was a medic in the military, so I knew a good amount of stuff already about medicine and trauma and patching people up. But a lot of stuff I was learning in college was just busy work, and I didn't want to do busy work. And I was making $700-800 a month, and I was in the military, so not good money at all. And I still had parents at home that were working 12-hour shifts, 6-7 days a week. A little brother who can't really fend for himself because he's got autism. All I really knew is I needed to do something to change, because $15K a month after 10 years of school wasn't going to be it for me. And I ended up going through different types of businesses because I saw people. This was during like the drop shipping era of COVID when it was getting huge. Saw a couple different people making a lot of money, and I tried a lead gen agency. Within my first like 3 weeks, I made like $5 grand. So I had made almost 10 times what I make a month in the Navy, just DMing people on LinkedIn to get them leads that I didn't even get myself. I just white labeled it to somebody on Fiverr. That's when I realized how easy it was. And when I realized the stuff was real, there was this guy who came in, super white, shiny teeth, gold watch. Had never seen him in my life, but he was wearing a Navy uniform, so I didn't think anything of it. I asked the dude what he does for a living, because I see he pulled up in a new Corvette. The watch he's wearing is a golden presidential Rolex. It's $100,000. When I realized that you can have money like that in the military, I started to think, what could I do if I wasn't in the military with this time constraint? And the biggest thing that made me realize that I needed to get out and I couldn't work for somebody else, it was, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but my grandmother had passed away. It was, well, what month? It was in 2020, like mid-2020. I was on my way home, which is called leave. I was on my way home to go see her. It was a 7.5 hour drive from where I was stationed to where she was living. I get a call from my chief, is what we call him. It's like a person in charge of us. And so I'm like, hey man, I need you to turn around now. It's like, chief, I can't. I'm on my way to see my grandmother. She's on her deathbed. Don't think I got much time left. It's like, I didn't ask you a question. I told you to do something. So I turn around, I drive back up 5 hours, and I get there. And the reason he had me turn around is because one of the blankets on my bed wasn't folded. I fold it. He has me stand there for 30 minutes in what's called parade rest. You got your hands behind your back, arms out, feet out. Looks me up and down. He's like, okay, you can go, with a smirk on his face. After that happens, I drive back home. 3 hours into the trip, she dies. So that was the day I realized, even if I go to school, I'm going to have a boss. And as long as I have a boss, somebody's going to be able to control me, where I go, what I can do, and what I can do for the people that I love, and the time that I'm in, the money I can make. I would go to zero for as long as possible if it meant I didn't have to work for anybody and I had the chance to making a lot of money. So for anybody who is on the fence of entrepreneurship, who who's confused about what to do, if you're watching this and you already have something going and you want to quit, I promise you it will never get worse. It can only get better, because the worst thing you could do is wake up 10, 20, 30 years from now telling somebody else, yeah, I'll be at work when you want to stay home with your kids, and have no shot, choice of what you want to do. So if you're doing something right now or you haven't done it yet, take the step. I've been homeless, I've been poor, I've made a lot of money. I'd rather have what I'm doing right now while everybody else is at work today than anything else.
Well said, man. Well said. So yeah, for me personally, man, I'm actually I think I'm the only one here that actually went to 4 years of college and graduated. So I'm clearly the smartest person here, right?
Yeah, wait, hold on. You went to 0, right?
I was like half a year.
Okay, I did 0, you did 1 year, and you did 4. Okay, yeah.
So I'm clearly the smartest here. Now, all jokes aside, so for me, it's a little different, right? I have parents, they're immigrant parents, and they were always taught that coming to America, getting an education and going to school would be the best opportunity ever. And for the longest time it was. But one thing that I've learned as an entrepreneur, times change. And in the midst of my couple years of college, I learned that for me personally, I wanted to pursue something similar to what John was saying, where I didn't have to answer to somebody. And I have a similar story to John, but on a way less degree. I remember I was working at a bank. I was working at a local bank for a while. And our bank was pretty strict on like taking time off, because we were one of the busiest banks in the area. And one of the things that we had to do before getting time off was ask like months in advance, right? We had to ask like, hey, before getting any time off, you got to let us know months in advance. I remember asking for time off from my boss months in advance to spend some time with my family. I barely spent any time with my family, and I was working. I was also going to school at the same time while working at this job. And the one day I asked time off no other time of the year. The one day I asked off was for actually my girlfriend's birthday. And my boss looked me dead in the face and said, why are you asking for time off when you know we're going to be busy around this time of the year, which was around July. So that moment pissed me off, because you work hard, you show up every day, and you're never appreciated in the workforce. So going to college made me realize, like, not only was I taking a bunch of classes that had no relevance to what I wanted. Tyler jokingly said, like, getting a communications degree is a waste of money. I have a communications degree.
Oh, no way.
In marketing.
I actually didn't know that.
No, that's fine. Because I agree with your point, dude.
It's so funny.
I 100% agree with your point. Like, I was taking biology classes as a communications and marketing major, right? Like, I was taking a bunch of classes that have no relevance to what I teach and do now. And what I really realized was, similar to Trevor, by the way, my business partner, we got started in this little business model called affiliate marketing. And when I tell you, it was as simple as getting on social media, posting some videos, and earning some money online. It made me realize, similar to John and everybody else here, like, there's a better opportunity out there, you know? So that's kind of where I tell people, like, look, whether you go to college or not, just be mentally aware that there's probably a better opportunity out there, especially in today's society. I think we live in the gold rush of opportunities. We have 16-year-olds making 7 figures a year, where then, that was impossible like just 10 years ago.
Ever. It was never possible.
Exactly. So like, the society we live in, the most proactive people are going to be the most successful. So just go out there, find new solutions, and just keep working hard. And if you can, surround yourself with other people that are doing amazing things. It works out in the end. So yeah, guys, I love all your responses. A question I actually want to ask you guys, what I was thinking of while I was hearing your stories, when did you guys feel like, if you guys feel like you made it, when did you guys feel like, okay, I have the confidence now to pursue this a little bit more in your business journey?
I mean, I'll touch on it first.
Yeah.
So after I left the military, I was homeless for about a year. And long story short, I met a guy who makes a lot of money, and he gave me a job in sales. At no point, even after closing millions and millions and millions of dollars at that company, did I feel like I made it. You can always learn more. But when I felt that I was confident enough to pursue it more, so I noticed the knowledge that I knew was on another level to the other people in the industry that we were in. So I was teaching people who had been in years longer than me, but I had a better understanding and better results than they did. And once I kind of brought that to the marketplace and tested it in other people's offers, and where they were actually entrepreneurs and not just like a corporate company, that's kind of when I felt more comfortable. So I guess when you start seeing that you can add more value than you're currently able to bring in whatever industry you're in, I'd go out here.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I've made it yet by any means necessary, but what I do feel, when I started to feel confidence, was actually when I made my first, what was it, like $7.20 online from an affiliate marketing commission. So the way it worked with affiliate marketing is if you promoted a product, we were promoting high ticket online courses and softwares. If you promoted that product and someone purchased through your affiliate link, you would earn a commission. And I remember just getting started. I was watching a ton of course material. I was trying to set up social media. Growing up, I was never a kid that was on social media. I didn't get an Instagram until I was like a junior in high school. I never had a Facebook, like a personal Facebook. I still don't even have a Twitter, which the guys are telling me I should get on. And then TikTok came around and I'm like, dude, I'm not getting on this dancing app where people are just messing around and dancing and doing like these lip syncing trends. So after a while, I realized that it could benefit my business. I needed attention, and I did drop shipping in the past, paying for ads, and I didn't want to do that again. So I was like, all right, how can I get free attention? Got on social media. I was posting on social media like 2-3 times a day, on TikTok specifically, every day, before, after work. And when I made my first commission, I think like almost 30 days later, or a couple weeks later, I literally remember, it was only $7 or something like that, or maybe $3.50. I literally remember like screaming and like, yo, Ma, I ran upstairs like, Ma, I made money online. We're going to be rich. It was like $3. She was like, well, how do you know you made that money? I was like, it says here I made $3. Is it in your bank account? Shit, obviously it wasn't at the time. So, I kept grinding. But that moment I realized like, dude, I can do this. And I didn't know it at the time. TikTok would have been one of the best platforms at that time to really blow up and go viral. And I feel like I joined it a little late because I joined around December 2020, but that's still earlier than what people are doing now. So that's when I realized, okay, I can do something here. And I'm looking at all these other teenagers and young people doing cool things. I'm like, I could do that. If I put my mind to it, I could do it. So I don't think I've made it yet, but I knew that that first commission, that sale, was kind of that opening window for me to take it to the next level.
Yeah. I can hit on it really quick.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to Alex, I had the realization when I was actually in affiliate marketing. And for me, it was actually way later. These cars.
So many cars,
Yeah, for me, it was actually way later in my journey. It was actually when I decided to pull the trigger on dropping out of college and going like full time in it. And Alex can probably relate to this a lot, but for me, the realization happened when I started to talk to other people in the space that were crushing it, and they had no clue what they're doing. Like, they were always lost. They never actually had like full clarity like I would imagine you would at that kind of income level or that kind of status or etc. So I started talking to these people that are doing better than me. They have no clue what they're doing. I had no clue what I was doing. And I started to realize by surrounding myself with these people that they don't really know much more than me, so to say. And that just gave me the ultimate confidence that I can just do this full time. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that. Yeah, so, I mean, for me, it was like, I don't know if I'll ever feel like I've made it, but I remember the very first time that I made money 100% online. It was a payment plan, right? Mm-hmm. It was a payment plan, and it was like I have a background in social media marketing, but I was doing it for local companies. So I was still meeting up with these people, doing videography for them, doing stuff in person. So I still had that personal aspect. But I remember when I made the decision to go fully online and to teach people to start doing it instead of doing it for them. And that was when I made the switch to do business coaching. I know there's like a stigma now around the coaching industry, but I think at the end of the day, I call myself an educator. I think that's what we all are. We're educators, we're teachers, but we get paid a lot more than normal educators and teachers. But for me, it was it was when I first made that first money 100% online, and I saw that money come through my Stripe account. And do you remember that feeling, dude?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
The first money that came through your Stripe account, and I think it was only $500 of a payment plan. I think it was like $2,500 total, 5 payments of $500, and that first $500 hit, and I remember that. I don't remember the year, but I remember the date. It was April 6th.
Yeah.
And I made that first money 100% online. Never met the dude in person before, and that just hit me. And I remember because it was my sister's birthday dinner night. And it was a couple days after her birthday, but we were having dinner that night. And I was like, dude, I can do this. I just do that 100 more times. Like, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
And so, but when you finally, that was like the tipping point for me. So once again, I don't know if I'm ever gonna feel like I've made it, but at that point, I definitely feel like I can make it.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
that was what it was for me.
Awesome. Sweet, man. Let's switch gears a little bit. There's a ton of people, young, 16, 18, trying to get their start in business. That's not really our kind of target audience, but I know there are going to be some young people watching this. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self to get you where you are now, or even farther faster? So you, John, you're the most experienced out of all of us, buddy.
Experience in sales. You guys got miles on me and a lot of other stuff. However,
One piece of advice, man. What would you tell yourself?
I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people. I'm inherently lazy as hell. I've always been somebody who cut corners, made excuses. Allow yourself to find out who you really are. Just apply yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be sales, it could be marketing, it could just be talking to people, it could be whatever it is. If you want to do this online stuff, allow yourself to find out who you really are by actually putting your 100% effort. If I would have never actually tried, I wouldn't be with these group of people, I wouldn't have made money, I wouldn't have done anything. I'd still be stuck in the military or at McDonald's making no money and still depressed. Just put effort in whatever it is you do and allow yourself to see what you really can be.
Love it. Love it. About you, Trev?
It's pretty simple. Do what we're doing right now. I think, honestly, if I had never, if I had never joined our community of affiliate marketers who are all at least pursuing the same goals, the same missions, the same drive, I probably would have stayed stuck in that kind of college 9 to 5, just go down the traditional route mentality. And it really only happens when you start to surround yourself with people that have the same ambitions, the same goals, the same drive, the same outlook on life as you, where you start to really gain the confidence and you start to also shift your beliefs for the better. And that's what we're doing right now, funny enough, and it's working. So,
Dude, if I could add on to Trevor's to that for my point and pivot a little bit, for me, it's definitely like focus on the 20% of work that gets you 80% of the results. Meaning, if you're really, really good at, like for me, I'm good at content and marketing. Sales, I'm fine at, but it wasn't my greatest. And so I went and found help from John, and then we ended up partnering and now we're partners on our business together. So for me, it's focus on the things that you're really good at and then outsource or get a partner or get help for the things that you aren't good at. And so to kind of piggyback off of Trevor's point, that's one of the major ways that you do that is finding others that are doing similar things to you and then networking with them. I know John's huge on networking. I mean, he has connections with billionaires and multiple, what would that be? Deca, Centa millionaires. And so that I think is the biggest, to Trevor's point, of connections as well and surrounding yourself with others that are doing similar big things that you are.
I love that. So to wrap up that piece of advice, all you guys gave really amazing advice. One thing I would tell my younger self is, like, I know you're hungry and eager to have the nice car, live the lavish lifestyle, but realistically, dude, like, start disassociating yourself with those materialistic things that you want and focus more on just getting really good at what you do. I'm telling you right now, you want to make a ton of money, become a fucking beast at what you do, man. Like, I don't care if it's sales, marketing, copywriting, software engineering, agency work, whatever. Just become a beast at that. You'll get paid for your hard work down the line, trust me. But just become so much better than the people in your space, and people will want to throw money at you, right? People will literally throw money at you. I remember when we started getting really viral on affiliate marketing, people would come knocking at the door. That's how we became coaches. Those people who are knocking at the door. Hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? I see you have all these followers and views on TikTok. How do I become like you, Alex? I didn't even care so much about making as much money as I wanted to at that time. I just wanted to quit my job. But when you get so good and sharpen your skill sets, don't be afraid to invest with other experts that are doing really, really well and connect with other people. To Tyler's point, become so good. I promise you, when it's your time, you'll make all the money you want in the world. So I hope you guys all take this advice. I'm going to end this clip here. and we're gonna get started in a new clip in just a moment. Alrighty, so the prompt today, guys, is what is one belief that you have that if it hits the wrong crowd of people, you might get canceled? Here's mine. I personally think our generation of young people, we live in this cancel culture and people just complain so much now. And you know, you have a lot of boomers saying that our generation doesn't work as hard. I won't go that far, but I will say that it's so much easier to sit down and complain and cry about why you're not where you want to be in life. And despite the economy being really tough and difficult, you do have the most successful 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs out there in our age group than ever before, right? Like before you had to be like 40, 50 years old to make 7 figures ever in your lifetime. And now there are more younger people doing it. So I don't know if I will get canceled for this thought process, but I really do believe with the increase of social media, with the increase of people looking at what other people have, it's so much easier to sit down, complain and cry and say, hey, they have this because they cheated their way up there or they got handed this. But in reality, they're more self-made entrepreneurs now than there ever has been. But there's so many people of our age group in their early to mid 20s that much rather complain and cry about their situation rather than go out there and change it. And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but I'd rather die trying than to sit back and say, man, I'm just not meant to be successful, so I'm gonna let my emotions dictate how I feel about somebody else. That's kind of my thought process. What do you guys think?
I want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Our generation is more focused on finding something to complain about than something to put effort in. Today, more people are worried about making sure everybody knows what it is to be gay or that they should be gay than they are trying to do to learn to better themselves, learn to work out, learn to make money, learn to do anything, when they're finding something to be crying about. You can go on Twitter or Instagram today in any comment section and there's a man or woman complaining about something that has nothing to do with them. We have more white people offended about black things than black people offended at black things. We have more white people offended by Hispanic stereotypes than Hispanics care. You can tell me to cut the grass right now and I wouldn't give a shit, but if a white person saw you, they get crazy. And I'm not saying it's a white, black, Hispanic thing, but in general,
woke culture.
I think people in our generation today are too focused on being mad at something and not focused at all on trying to be great at something. They have families at home that are still struggling, not making money, not eating the food they want, not traveling, not going places. And I know it's true because my family's still the same way and I'm about to retire them within the next 2 years. But that's only because I'm actually working towards something. So many people today just want to be mad at something. They want to hate on something. They want to start a movement against something. And like Alex said, cancel something. I think we're in the softest generation there ever has been. I think the only reason we have so many entrepreneurs succeeding is because we are the 1% that is actually finding the winner.
Love it, man. We're basically saying woke culture sucks. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the great thing about it, on our side of things, is that it just makes the competition easier if everybody's soft. But I think to piggyback off of what both of you guys are saying, because I think I was going to say something pretty similar, is that I think in America, in this like new generation that we are born in, life has been already fought for and built for us that it's become easy for a lot of people. And what happens when life is easy is you have no real problems and you have to find problems instead of actually like having real world problems. So people have like very comfortable lives and they just like come up with all these problems and stuff like that. And I think ultimately it just makes the generation softer. So like you guys had an example just yesterday, like people aren't being men of their words. People are saying stuff and then not proceeding with it and actually doing with it. I think all that stuff is pretty good indicator that you're not going to become great because you have to be a man of your word.
Yeah, dude, I mean, that's pretty much what I was gonna say on the back of what Trevor first led off of, with people like they have no problems now, because I forget exactly how the saying goes, but it's like hard times create strong men create easy times, and easy times create weak men. And I think we're in that era of getting over the hard times, or getting over the strong men creating easy times. And so now we're in the era of the easy times creating weak men. And so I think on that issue of we don't have any actual problems, we don't have real problems that we're dealing with. So people have to find problems and come up and make problems to care about. Hence, I'm gonna get hot here. Then you get into the issues of dealing with all this transgender stuff. You know, I feel like this gender, so I am this gender. Bro, God gave you one or the other. There's two. We don't call animals transgender. We don't say, hey, you think that deer's a male or a female? Think it's a buck or a doe? You say, no, it's a buck or a doe. So why, especially to their point, you know, I don't believe in evolution, but to their point of evolution, if we evolve to the point of, you know, having these problems, so if we're so concerned about these problems and, you know, the science behind the problems, it's like, dude, if you look at the science, you either got 2 X chromosomes or you got an X and a Y. And if you're special, you got a couple extra. You've been blessed with a couple extra. But the point here is that you either have one or the other. And I think that's a problem that we have created because we have no actual problems to deal with. And the funny part is there actually is problems that we do have to deal with that people are just straight up ignoring. I mean, there's like, I forget what the number is, but I think it's like 800 million people in the world don't have access to clean water. That's a huge issue that we could actually be dealing with, but instead we're arguing over what gender or pronoun you want to be called with today. It's absolutely insane. There are people that actually need help, and we're making up these crazy problems because we don't actually see the need for help where we live. That's my hot topic.
And you know, so Tyler, I like what you just said there. And for me, it's like, I don't care what you are, but when you start making it a problem for other people, that's always been something that pisses me off.
Don't push it on us and don't push on the kids.
Yeah, like,
deal with your own stuff.
Yeah, definitely, dude. We're gonna stay on the controversial topics here. One thing I want to talk about, you guys basically hit on it, but I think another thing that pisses me off about today's society is how lazy people are. And I'm lazy, right? To John's point, I'm lazy as well. But I'm lazy in the sense that I want to be able to work hard now so I can be lazy. But one thing that upsets me with today's society is how lazy people really are. Like, lazy to the point where they much rather stay in poverty and suffer and sit down and say, hey, well, I just guess the cards weren't in my deck today. And one of the things that we deal with all the time is, because we're online coaches, and this has nothing to do with people not closing with us, but it's just crazy to see how people will say they want to change. They say they want to do better for their family and their loved ones. And they will say all these things, and then when push comes to shove, they don't take action. And I remember when I first got started, when I was taught the opportunity to make money from my computer, this was before COVID was really taking off, but make money from my computer, I jumped at the opportunity. I was very eager. So a question I want to throw to you guys is, why do you believe a mass majority of people much rather stay uncomfortable and impoverished and not actually take action? And what distinguishes someone that is likely to take action? Have you guys found that maybe young males or older women, do you find like there's a certain type of person that's more likely to take action and be successful, or is it just totally up in the air?
I think it's someone who hasn't either been through or seen struggle. I think the biggest experience I've seen, because before, I was never a natural entrepreneur. Like, I wasn't making money at a young age. I made my first dollar at like 22. Pretty late for today's entrepreneurs. And if you're older than that, you still have time. I'm not a multi-millionaire yet, so keep going. However, watching my parents work every single day, I didn't know it was a problem until I started working every single fucking day. Then I realized, if I'm this tired, how are they this tired? How do they feel? And how much money are they spending? And have they been spending? This whole time they've been saying no to buying things. It wasn't because they didn't want to, it's because they couldn't make rent if they bought it. I think the difference between the people who are actually working towards something today and that are more lazy is that they haven't either seen somebody they love struggle enough or been through the struggle themselves. Because there are people who themselves have the struggle who are very successful, but they've seen their family struggle. But the baddest entrepreneurs, and I mean bad in a good way, are those who have been through some shit, who are immigrants, who have been poor, who have been kicked in the face multiple times over and over and over. And those people do laps on anybody in the space because they have trauma. If you're somebody who hasn't been through that stuff, just try it. See what it's like. If you fail, you fucking fail. You go back to the life you're living right now. But the best case scenario is your life completely changes, you make more money, and you have more time and freedom to do other things.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the idea of delaying gratification. Because the way that I see it is, like, most people who are successful entrepreneurs, they're willing to do the good inputs for years, months, decades even, without the expectation of getting a certain result. You know, like when Alex and I first started, we were just doing goodwill and putting good energy and good faith into the world. And we knew that down the line sometime, and we still do this, of course, down the line sometime, it'll come into fruition. Whereas most people who just want to work a 9-to-5 job, that's why entrepreneurship is not meant for everybody, because some people have to work a certain amount and then get an immediate result for it and get that consistently. Whereas I think the difference is entrepreneurs are willing to, you know, you could work 40 hours one week, make 10 grand. You could work 40 hours the next week and make $0, but then you're still going to get up the week after that and work another 40 hours or whatever it is. But, yeah.
All I gotta say is, if the pain, I think for most people, the pain of the struggle isn't as great as the pain of change. And that's why they don't move forward. So I will leave you with those thoughts to think about.
Love that. Love that. I have one last question, guys, as we're wrapping up this beautiful walk here. What would you say your biggest weakness is now that you're looking to change into the new year? If you guys aren't aware, we're filming this on, is it December 1st today, or is it?
Yeah.
December 1st today, 2023.
It's not snowing though, because it's Florida.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
Wisconsin like that.
Absolutely. So what would you say your biggest weakness is now that you're looking to change? I guess I'll go first here. For me, you know, there's definitely multiple weaknesses. But one thing that I think I really, really want to change more is being more open to learning from others. I will say, back to my point earlier, when I made that first sale online, I really felt like I knew the world. Like I knew what I needed to do, and I could kind of just do whatever it is that I need to accomplish to just be as successful as possible. But something I'm starting to learn more and more is that you can take from other people and really go much farther. It's, again, hence the reason why we're masterminding, connecting with others. I've learned so much from these two guys here, Tyler and John, in the last couple of days than I've learned probably in the last few months from other people. So find people that, you know, are doing amazing things similar to you, and don't be afraid to take from that, learn from that, and don't have an ego. I remember in Rome with some people back in the day, we probably spent 6 figures worth of coaches, mentors, masterminds, and there was moments in time where, like, if I didn't like after a while of what someone was saying, I'd have an ego, because I'm like, I don't really care what they're saying. I don't think it aligns with what we need to do right now, and that is like the one biggest thing that I want to change. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking of another big point here. I think might even be bigger than that one, is patience. I am a very steadfast person. I want to accomplish what I want to accomplish in the given time period, but I'm starting to realize more now is patience is one of the biggest things that you need to have if you're going to be successful. I'm at the point now in business where I feel like I have a lot of the tools in the toolbox that I need, but I need to slowly construct the house over time. And patience, with right patience, you'll go so much farther faster, and you're not needing to tweak as many things as we've done in the past. The moment something didn't work, try to change things. But I've learned now that patience is ultimately what's going to get you the farther, the fastest, and the farthest in your life and in business. So just be more patient. That's one of the biggest things I would definitely change.
Yeah, dude, I love that. For me, I think it's going more high level with the things that we're doing and thinking about our business in a way that's more high level. So I think a lot of times, to your point of patience, we think one step at a time sometimes. You know, we get caught up in the emotions of business, like, oh, we didn't make money today. Then the next day you make money. Or we didn't make as much this month as we did next month. Why is that? Let's try to look at these little things and tweak and see what we did wrong. But at the end of the day, guys, like, life, business, everything goes in waves. And I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the, what did we do wrong? What can we change? What can we tweak? What are the little things that we need to do? And we miss the big picture of, we are doing the right thing. There's just changes day to day, and it just is what it is. So for me, it's looking more high level and realizing and not putting so much stress on the small changes on the day to day, and just focusing on the overall.
Love it.
For me, and I hope this is something that could touch a lot of people, it's insecurity. I've done millions of dollars in deals and sales, and I still feel like I'm not shit. And I know I'm not shit because there's people who've done 9 figures in sales. There are days where I'll crush calls, nobody says no. And there's days where nobody says yes. So for me, I want to fix the insecurity of expecting everything to be perfect and always having an answer, when sometimes there is no answer. It's just letting it suck for a little bit, which is something we've had to learn in the business, because there's months where we'll crush it, like makes a shit ton of money. And there's months where like, well, do we quit? So for me, and if anybody can relate to this or kind of take anything from it, allow yourself to not be insecure with the things that you're not sure about or you don't know. There's greatness inside you if God put you on this earth. Just find it.
Love it.
Yeah. And I have two kind of pieces. The first one is, for me, I'm going to really try and focus on making smarter decisions into 2024, because when you really look at it, the way that you make decisions literally dictates every single thing inside of your life. For instance, there are many people that, if you guys are watching this, that are your age who are doing better than you and probably came from a worse position. And on the flip side as well, there's probably many people who are in a better position and now are doing worse than you at your age, right? And it's all because of the decisions that have been made. So for me, I'm really focusing on how can I make smarter, more effective decisions that drive the needle forward. And then also, for me, and a lot of you guys can probably relate to this, when I first got into business, I would always pressure myself to hit these goals in a certain amount of time frame. I'm starting to actually release from that a little bit more and actually just expand my timeline. I mean, we're all really young. This coaching, this online space is still really, really new. And I can only imagine if all of us are still doing the same thing 30 years from now, like still producing content, still providing massive value, we'll be chilling. Like, because the space is so new right now that if you just keep putting that goodwill and that good faith into the world, it'll always come into fruition.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. A lot of great value and knowledge. I'm going to probably link Tyler's and John's social media pages down on the screen somewhere. And
Not mine, bro.
yeah, and then Trevor, of course. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video.